Okay, I've gotten the question of how did you find out when you were going to deploy and where and all that kind of stuff. So we kind of knew early on when we were going to deploy. Um, like it was very obvious that it was going to be Afghanistan. I mean, we went to like the Mountain Warfare School specifically to like get ready to go deploy and stuff. Like we had to like pass a bunch of stupid like unit tests and stuff to do that. And like we literally got done with that in like September. Okay. Of 2009. I was in the Marine Corps from 2008 on active duty to 2012. And then so anyways, I'll get into my deployment basically. And then there's also reserve time too. Technically till like 2016, but like I was inactive, so I didn't have to like do anything luckily. So when I found out that I was going to deploy, right? So I literally, we were all sitting there, right? Just chilling. What they made us do was they made us embark all of our shit, like all of our units, like main equipment over. Like we had to put them in like ISO containers and all that stuff, right? Like get them set up, and then they like hauled it out like on eventually to like ships and stuff. Like basically the merchant marines. Like if you watch Captain Phillips, the movie Captain Phillips, that is merchant marines, and those people, they load up a whole unit size of containers on there, and then they like float them like over. It's kind of weird. It's kind of complicated. And then, so that's one part of it. We definitely knew, like, we were going to go to play. It was just a matter of when. But we knew it was probably going to be Afghanistan, right? So, when we found out officially was sometime in December. And I'll put a link on the exact date we found out. Exactly where we actually got, like, a head start on the news kind of on this. So, like, it was literally in the morning, Master Guns W calls us all in, like, our platoon stuff, and they literally kind of have us information, talking about it, and he basically tells us exactly where we're going. It was, I'm not going to say because this guy probably shouldn't have even said this, right? But anyways, we were looking at the stuff for it, and we found out it was going to be like compartmentalized terrain, meaning like tons of mountains and shit. It's pretty much desert, like really hot in the summer, really cold in the winter, and you know, kind of weird. So we found that part out, and that night, literally that night, like I think it was like 12 hours later, like after we poured and like found out all this information about like where we were going, the President Barack Obama gets on TV. He makes like a huge speech at the military academy, I think. And it was like, it was kind of funny. He was like, make sure you watch the news tonight. It's like, okay. So we watched the news. We saw like an hour-long speech about it, or however long it was. It was kind of weird. So essentially, like 30,000 troops got put into Afghanistan that year. We were supposed to have 60,000, but it was only 30,000. I think it had to do with like congressional funding, maybe. And essentially, it came down to we had to do like a lot more work because they only put 30,000 troops in instead of 60,000. But yes, I think it ended up being called Strike of the Sword. Operation Kanjar, Strike of the Sword. And it was one of the biggest surges that had ever happened in modern history in Afghanistan. But I mean, it was like several like regimental combat teams and then like a bunch of battalions underneath them and stuff. I mean, it was a lot of people. Like 30,000 people is like no joke. And to surge them all in within like 4 to 6 months, I could not tell my family. I couldn't tell anybody where I was going. I literally straight up just got my shit packed up. I said, Afghanistan, that's it. And it was kind of interesting. Like I knew quite a bit about the area before I even went there. Like it was kind of weird, like finding out. It's almost surreal, like looking back now, kind of. But I don't know, that's how I found out.